You charge ahead without considering the effort or analyzing the situation. You don't think about who you could help or who might help you, you only think about yourself, ignoring anyone in your way. That's why you're in your current, unenviable position. You've burned bridges and ruined opportunities. I saw a tear in her eye for the first time. She seemed lost. No, I don't want to, she said weakly. Everything I did was for us. But your ego got in the way. I know I hurt you, and I'm sorry. If you had stayed, I could have explained my plan. You still haven't told me why you left, I replied. I tasted the sauce and added more salt. I saw the writing on the wall, Amy. I know why you're here, to cut the deadwood. You're the one sent to remove those holding the company back. I agree it was necessary, I just made it easier for you to make those decisions. I saw the anticipation in her eyes. This was the conversation she wanted. Sam Beckman, for a smart man, you sure make some foolish choices. I had no intention of firing you. If you were truly paying attention, you'd know everything I did was for us, to make your dreams possible. That's quite a trick, I said. Tugging at my heartstrings while appealing to my pride. I never said you weren't persuasive, she replied. I remember the countless nights we sat in the kitchen talking about how the people at the top were destroying the company. I believed in you, Sam. I believed you could turn things around. And now I have the chance to help you realize those ideas. I worked hard to give you that chance, telling my bosses I could make your company profitable. And what did that get me? Ah, so now it's all your fault angle? I asked. You've left me to my fate without hearing me out. I keep fighting, working long hours on what you said was possible. All I need is a little help from the one man I've ever loved, it's you, Sam. We can sit back and enjoy the fruits of our labor. I love you, and this is our future. I'm not naive, I don't think we'll be together again, though I dream about it. But I do see we can have a strong business relationship and find success. So, what do you say? Can we call a truce, start working together, and show them we're a force to be reckoned with? Amy took another sip of wine and leaned back, her fervor fading. She had made her point. Now it was up to me. While she spoke, I finished the sauce and set the water to boil for the spaghetti. All I could think of were Julius Caesar's last words, "Et tu, brute." Betrayal. That was my first thought when I discovered what she'd done. Despite everything, Amy was still a striking woman. But one thought kept me grounded, evaluating her past and present actions. Good Amy, I thought. A good manager considers all aspects before deciding. Let's say I buy into your brilliant plan, I said. Why do you think I can help you? Amy's eyes flashed with annoyance. I've told you, I believe you can do it. You have credibility with the employees. They trust you. They respect you. Your obstacles were with upper management, and my position as VP has removed them. I smiled, sadly. You don't see it, do you? Your very presence as VP undermines my ability to gain their trust. But I'm not surprised. You refuse to believe you've done anything wrong. Others see it differently, Amy. I saw concern cloud her face as I continued. Have you ever wondered why you struggle to gain support for your ideas? The rumor mill's been busy. Everyone knows about your questionable business tactics, and none of that came from me. Amy's face froze. I was entering territory she wanted to avoid. People see you as someone who climbed the ladder at any cost, leaving more deserving employees behind. They know about our failed marriage. They know I walked away with my dignity intact. If I accepted your offer, it would be seen as an endorsement of everything you did. I'd go from being a wronged husband to a compromised employee, losing both respect and influence. Tears formed in Amy's eyes. Her confidence was cracking. I don't believe you, Sam, she said. I've shown I'm willing to work hard. I took a powerful position to get things done. I'm capable, Jason wouldn't have given me the job otherwise. I shook my head, my anger cooling into sadness. Amy truly believed her version of events, maybe as a way to cope. Did Jason approach you with the takeover offer, or did you go to him? She wiped her face with a tissue and straightened up. Hopefully, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. I'm not Jason's puppet. I went to him. He put up barriers before letting me speak to the board. I nodded. Just as I thought. Did he entertain you when he finally gave you the floor? Her sigh gave her away. Trying to compose herself, she asked, "Why do you think that?" I grinned slightly. Do you know why I was good at my job, Amy? I've always built profiles of the people I work with, including you. My mistake was trusting you unconditionally. That cost me dearly. So I updated your profile. As my grandfather used to say, there's no point in getting older if you're not getting smarter. I judge people by what they do, not what they say. Knowing Jason, I doubt he cares if you succeed. If you fail, he'll blame the board for approving your proposal. I saw a glimmer of realization in her eyes as I continued. If you succeed, Jason takes credit for bringing in a promising executive. If you fail, he simply points fingers at the board. He doesn't care whether you're capable or reckless, as long as you keep him entertained, he'll be satisfied. You're on your own, Amy. A small fish in a pond full of hungry piranhas. Amy clutched the napkin tightly. Everything ID said was true, and she seemed frightened by the reality of her situation. Still, she tried to deny it. So you don't think I can do it? She asked. I shrugged. No, Amy. I know you can't. I saw the anger build in her, but I continued. It would take a Saturn V rocket to launch you from your VP seat into corporate oblivion. Where will your precious security be then? I turned away to calm myself. From what I hear, you've only managed to spin your wheels and create so much smoke that everyone else struggles to do their jobs. I wouldn't be surprised if the next shareholder meeting reports a 25% drop in profits, but that's just speculation. No matter how you spin it, it all comes down to why you started this. You said you loved me and did it for both of us. Amy shuddered but nodded. But really, it was always about your safety, not ours. If you had truly loved me, you would have tried to stop me from working myself to death. You used to say I was a heart attack waiting to happen. I paused, then went on. You didn't try to stop me, or if you did, you weren't convincing. You just waited for it to happen. You could have threatened divorce to make me reconsider everything. Instead, your betrayal made me realize the truth. That's why I'm here now, feeling better than ever. I love you, Sam. I didn't want to divorce you, she pleaded. You didn't want to divorce me, but you were willing to watch me break myself completely. Does that sound like love? I finished sarcastically. Amy couldn't refute my words. She couldn't even look at me. I didn't mean the things I said back then. I love you even now. I regret a lot, she whispered. My face must have shown doubt. I'm sure you believe that, Amy, but it doesn't change anything. Don't you see? I can't trust you, personally or professionally. I've decided to end this conversation. You've climbed to the top, and now you'll have to wait for Jason to retire or vanish before you can aim for CEO. You've decided this is the moment to lock in your position and reach for that title. Amy tried to interrupt, but I raised a hand. Your plan is obvious: take over my old company, push me to work hard again, and benefit from my efforts. I'm amazed you expected me to follow your lead. When I kicked you out, I thought it was clear, I wasn't weak. Maybe it's my fault for setting you up to fail. I saw Amy struggling to stay composed. One moment I blamed her, the next I was taking responsibility. You're not making sense, Sam. I think you've got it backward, she replied. I hung my head and sighed. Good, Amy. You've heard the saying, cruel to be kind. I wasn't kind. I gave you hope, and now I have to take it away harshly. I went to Jason and made sure he kept his word to make you a general partner. I didn't want to see you suffer, even if you deserved it. My mistake was letting you think we had a chance to reconcile. Those birthday and holiday cards you sent me only made it harder. I checked the sauce and added more water to the nearly dry pot. If I'd done what I should have, you'd have disappeared to some quiet place and started over. That's what I want you to do now, walk away and start fresh. Tears streamed down her face. You might have to go back to a secretarial role, but it won't be as bad as staying here and losing everything. If you're lucky, you'll be licking stamps while some post office clerk flirts with you. I watched my words settle in. Her defiance, not humility, made me feel heavy with sadness. I know I hurt you, Sam. I berate myself every day for it. But what you said, that was cruel, she whispered. You don't believe in me, but I believe in you. And if that's how you feel, fine. Watch me. I'll prove I can do this. At that moment, there was a knock at the door. Come in, I said irritably. Is everything okay, Sam? I'm sorry if I'm interrupting, Vivian asked. I sighed, realizing I'd lost my temper. I checked my watch. I'm sorry, Vivian. Please don't come in. Amy was just leaving. I turned and glared at Amy, waiting for her to stand. Amy looked at Vivian, who stood in the doorway. She was younger, maybe by 5 or 10 years, and striking, with long, flowing dark blonde hair. Amy's face changed as she realized who Vivian was. She turned to me, saw the dinner simmering on the stove, and began to cry as she understood. I glanced at the meal I'd prepared for Vivian and me, recognizing what Amy was thinking. What? You thought this was for you? I told you this wasn't a social visit. Don't be upset, I invited a friend to dinner. We broke up years ago. The only reason I let you come here was to knock some sense into you. Amy stood, head down, and rushed past Vivian, muttering, Tell Megan I'll be waiting in the car. I hope I didn't make things worse, Vivian said, watching her leave. I can go if you need to deal with this. Should I tell Jillian I don't need her as a babysitter? Vivian asked gently. It's not your fault, I replied. I'm glad you showed up when you did. I hugged Vivian and kissed her cheek. Can you watch the pasta for a minute? I need to tell Megan the meeting's over and she can take Amy home. I stepped out onto the back terrace and saw Megan napping in the afternoon sun. Amy's words echoed in my mind. How now, as vice president, she had supposedly removed all the obstacles blocking my ideas. It made me think. How do you like the view? I asked. It's just like you said, Sam, amazing, Megan replied, eyes closed. How did it go in there? I didn't hear any fireworks. Not well. She's not backing down. She's in the car, waiting for you. Can I ask you something? I said. Sure, Sam. You can ask me anything. I smiled weakly. How do you see your future at work? How ambitious are you? Megan's eyes widened at the question. I'm not sure where this is coming from, but if it's what I think. I'd like to have Amy's job someday, she admitted, standing up. I know I can do it well. But I won't compromise my values. Why do you ask? Because I think it's time to end this circus, I said firmly. Can you contact Kevin Paxton and meet me in town in 3 weeks? I might have an offer for both of you. Megan nodded. I led her back inside, where she saw Vivian at the stove. She nudged me in the ribs and whispered, Now I see why Amy ran off. You old dog. Her expression made me smirk. She's gorgeous, and probably the final nail in Amy's pride. Amy was never in her league. I'm not even in her league. But she's just wounded pride right now. I nodded, appreciating Vivian's beauty. And she's just as kind as she is lovely. Vivian looked up as I introduced Megan. Nice to meet you, Vivian said warmly. Sam has so many women in his life, I'm not sure there's room for me. Megan chuckled. Don't worry about the others you see around him, he's a one-woman man, sweetheart. And from what I can tell, he's got his eye on you. Just watch out, Sam can be quite the charmer when he's interested. I wasn't sure what Megan meant. We hadn't spent much time in social settings together, and I felt my face redden. I think you've said enough for one night, Megan. It's time to leave. I nudged her gently toward the front door. She looked back with a final comment. If you're smart, Vivian, you won't let this guy slip away. She kissed my cheek and said goodbye. Be smart. I'll see you in 3 weeks. Vivian and I sat on the back deck sipping Merlot and watching the waterfowl. We chatted casually about the day, and I eventually shared the details of my failed marriage to Amy and its aftermath. You don't want to do this, do you, Sam? Vivian observed. No, I don't, I admitted. But it has to be done. I can't let everyone lose their jobs because I took the easy way out. I have no choice. After a pause, Vivian said, you know Amy still has feelings for you. I almost laughed. I used to think that. But not anymore, not after today. I was harsh, and it didn't seem to matter. Vivian smiled. For all your toughness, it's clear you care about others, Sam. Including Amy. We women appreciate that in a man. I had no response, so I sipped my drink. Vivian patted my arm. I believe you'll do the right thing for everyone. I nodded grimly. But I'm afraid not everyone will agree. You didn't make her bed, Sam. She did. Now she has to lie in it, Vivian said, breaking the silence. A few minutes passed as I drifted into my thoughts. Then she caught me off guard. Speaking of beds, when are you going to show me yours? Her statement came out of nowhere and surprised me. Huh? I replied. Vivian chuckled. Megan told me that if I wanted you, I shouldn't hesitate. She said, if you're smart, Vivian, don't let this guy go. So here I am, holding on to someone I think is worth it. So you're interested in more than just a friendship? I asked, sounding like a nervous teenager. My past failures made it hard to meet her eyes. Vivian giggled. You're blushing, Sam. My ears burned and a sheepish grin crossed my face. You sure know how to make a guy feel awkward, I muttered, rubbing my face to recover. That day I walked into your store, saw you looking overwhelmed, and offered to help. I felt like a knight in shining armor. That's exactly what you were, Vivian said, her smile glowing. And you still are. She kissed my cheek affectionately. Since that day, I've leaned on you. And now I understand why you've stood by me all these months. She paused, noticing my confusion. It must have been hard when Amy made you feel unneeded. Well, if it helps, I need you, Sam. I haven't felt this at ease since Greg passed. She patted my arm again. You've been good to me, and I appreciate it. It wasn't until Megan stirred the pot that I realized I felt more than just friendship. She looked at me sincerely. So, do you want to take it to the next level? Her expression was full of hope. I grinned. Well, madam, if you insist. I suppose I'll have to show you my etchings. Vivian laughed. Forget the etchings, I'm more interested in the artist. We both burst into laughter as she stood and headed for the door, calling out playfully, race you to the bedroom. Later, I saw Kevin and Megan watching as I walked into the restaurant. My mood must have been written on my face. Kevin stood up and extended his hand. Long time no see, old friend. It's great to see you after all these years. You look 10 years younger. I smiled and shook his hand. It's good to see you too. I'm doing well. How's life? Oh, average to average, Kevin replied with a grin. Can't complain, no one listens anyway. I smiled and kissed Megan on the cheek. You look as radiant as ever. I'm not sure what you saw in this brute, but I hope he's been good to you. Megan chuckled. He's a little rough, but I like that. The rugged type suits me. How do you know? Kevin asked. I smiled. Because I'm a people watcher. I saw your reaction when I mentioned Kevin today. I think you two would make a formidable team. Kevin grinned. Speaking of which, what's the offer? I chuckled. Straight to business, Kevin, you'll never change, I said with a chuckle. Okay, let's talk strategy first, then we can relax and enjoy the food. As the waitress served our drinks, I began. The company is in serious trouble. If nothing is done soon, everyone will be looking for new jobs. And as you both know, options are limited. I pulled several folders from my briefcase and handed a white one to Kevin. Feel free to disagree or suggest any additions. While Kevin studied the folder, I opened another. Here's a list of people you'll need to bring to your side. I'll leave the methods up to you. Kevin flipped through the pages. It's clear you've thought this through. You're not only targeting JPL and Amy, but Dobson Incorporated and Jason as well. I saw the look on Kevin's face and knew what he was thinking. We don't have a choice, I said. Since Dobson bought out JPL, we have to attack from both sides. Originally, I focused on JPL, but now we need to influence Dobson's board too. If you can win the board, and Megan handles JPL, we might have a chance, albeit a slim one. Kevin handed the folder to Megan. You're right, Sam's situation isn't just dire, it's on life support. But I see potential. It wouldn't hurt to involve Jack Deacon. He's a master with numbers. I nodded grimly. Jack is brilliant, but we've never gotten along. He never liked me. Megan nodded while flipping through the folder. I agree with Kevin. Jack should be involved, for his creative accounting skills. I'll talk to him first. Kevin picked up the second folder and scanned the list of names. I'm not sure I can even get a meeting with some of these people, let alone get them on board. I smirked. What do you think I've been doing for the past 3 weeks? There's one name, Slovak, that I couldn't get close to. And if he's not on board, none of this will work. Kevin raised a brow. How did you become so influential? I scoffed. Influential, my back. If I were that good, Slovak would already be with us. I handed him another folder. These are your scheduled meetings, everyone but Slovak. Megan looked up. Isn't Slovak Jerry Cambridge's uncle? Maybe Jerry can help arrange a meeting. Kevin and I exchanged glances and shrugged. Kevin asked, Can you handle that, Megan? She smiled. I've got a meeting with Jerry tomorrow to finalize the trip logistics. I'll ask him then. That made me feel a bit more optimistic. I've organized the meeting times and dates for you both. Things are getting messy, even in the higher levels of government. I outlined my concerns but admitted I didn't have a solid plan yet. We need to finalize the details and gather everyone to complete the final version. Megan shook her head. I can't believe Jason didn't see this coming. Oh, he sees it, I scoffed. He just doesn't care. He has a scapegoat, and Amy's in for a nasty surprise when he turns on her. Megan wrinkled her nose. Amy may be selfish, but she doesn't deserve that. I nodded. Jason will act before the next quarterly meeting to keep himself clean. We must move quickly and precisely. If we impress the top brass, we'll succeed. Kevin shook his head. And you think we're just going to accept your offer? I smiled. Come on, Kevin. What do you have to lose? If Amy can pitch her ideas, so can you. You haven't found a job that matches your skill set yet, have you? And I know you've got issues with both Amy and Jason. I nodded toward Megan. She believes in you, and so do I. You'll make it work. I've done what I can, now it's up to you to bring it home. Kevin laughed, and Megan joined in. All tied up with a neat pink ribbon, he said sarcastically. Megan frowned. What about Jason? He won't give up without a fight. He has the power to sabotage us before we even begin. She flipped through the second folder. I grinned. Leave Jason to me. You won't have to deal with him, just keep Amy occupied so she doesn't make a reckless move and take everyone else down with her. Megan smirked. After your last confrontation, she's the least of our concerns. Vivian's presence really threw her off. Now she's dead set on proving you wrong. You've completely messed with her head, Sam. I've had to tweak half her proposals just to make her look halfway competent. We finished our meal, still discussing strategy. As we said our goodbyes, we agreed to meet again in 2 days with a larger group to finalize everything. The follow-up meeting was intense. Megan and Kevin had brought in half a dozen allies, one of them being Jack Deacon. As I predicted, Jack was hostile but willing to listen. Let me see the financial packet, he demanded. We watched as he flipped through the documents. This is nonsense, Beckman. These numbers aren't substantiated. I wanted to snap but forced myself to stay calm. They're projections. Estimated approximations. Jack smirked. Don't quit your day job, Beckman. These figures are as reliable as weather forecasts. You need to show me the real money. I knew I had to handle him carefully. Listen, Deacon, can I call you Jack? I know we haven't worked together since Amy took over, but you're here because you're the best at what you do. I could see him tense, sensing I was trying to appeal to his pride. Jack grinned. I may look like a laborer to you, but I'm not so socially unaware that I can't tell when I'm being patronized. I gritted my teeth. I know that sounded patronizing, but it doesn't make it any less true. I turned to address everyone in the room. What will you do when the next shareholders meeting comes around? I don't care if you agree with this proposal or not, I can walk away, return to my life, and let you figure out how to queue up for unemployment. I looked at Jack. You're a genius with numbers and can land another job quickly. But what about the rest of them? We need you to get creative and make these projections work. I saw the gears turning in his head. So this isn't some scam to push your wife up the corporate ladder? He asked. I shook my head with regret. No, Jack. She's my ex-wife. If we pull this off, she'll be lucky to shuffle papers in a dark, windowless room. I regret not burning that bridge when I divorced her. I'm here to fix that mistake. Whether this takeover works or not, both she and Jason will be history, I guarantee it. Jack glanced around the room, then back at the folder. You know, Sam, I've been doing so much with so little for so long, now I finally have the chance to do everything with nothing. He grinned. What's the deadline for this miracle? I looked at Kevin. 3 p.m. tomorrow, he said cautiously. Holy crap, Jack muttered, eyes wide. I'm good, Kevin, but even God would struggle to pull this together in time. We exchanged uneasy glances. I began to worry the whole plan might unravel. Then Jack added with a smirk, if I pull this off, I want a sign on my desk that says, God. After a beat, Kevin grinned. I'll personally engrave it. Everyone will kneel and pay their respects if you bring me those numbers by 3 p.m. tomorrow. We all breathed a sigh of relief. All right, people, we're burning the midnight oil, I said. Call whoever you need. Get to work. Megan asked if she could bring in some of the girls from the typing pool. Your choice, Megan. Show us what you've got. I'm here for questions, but it's your show now. I handed control to her. Oh my God, she muttered, glaring at Kevin. Sam's right. Pull yourself together and prove we can count on you in a crisis. Kevin and I stepped back as Megan took a deep breath and got to work. Within the hour, she had organized groups and was brainstorming ideas. Jack argued until she snapped, "I don't care how many people you need, just get it done, Jack. You know what we're facing." Kevin chuckled. "You were right, Sam. She's a powerhouse." I smiled and lightly tapped his arm. I never doubted it. I pointed to my temple and walked off to help. I walked straight into Jason's office, brushing past his startled secretary. "I'm sorry, sir, you can't go in. It's okay, Lynn," Jason said, waving her off in irritation. "What's this? A Beckman invasion?" Clearly, he was not pleased to see me. "That's no way to start a negotiation, Jason," I said, wearing a cold smile. "I'd think someone with your business acumen would know when to show a bit of humility." Jason leaned back, waiting. I knew the first to speak loses in a battle of wills. Jason finally broke the silence, sweating slightly. "Are you going to stand there all day, or are you going to tell me why you're here?" "I have a shareholders meeting in an hour." "I'm here to help you pack," I said flatly. "And where exactly am I supposed to go?" Jason asked, clearly rattled. "I don't care, as long as you're out by the end of the day. Though I'd recommend another state. Maybe the other side of the country." "What if I refuse?" "I'm close to retirement. I'm not giving up my lucrative package for someone like you." I shook my head. "You have two options, resign now and walk away with what you've got, or stay and watch me dismantle everything. That includes your finances and your family. You'll be lucky to afford a cup of coffee." Jason scowled. "I did what you wanted. I made Amy vice president. She controls JPL now. Why the threats? We've never even met before. I thought you were a man of your word. What changed?" I leaned forward, both hands on his desk, face inches from his. "You changed my mind. I was holding up my end, until you broke it. Now you pay. You set Amy up with a doomed proposal, knowing she'd come running to me. You wanted to hit two targets with one move. And you thought I wouldn't act. You were wrong." Sweat trickled down his temple as he realized I was right. "I didn't break our deal, Beckman. She came to me. I gave her a shot to prove herself. If she failed, that's on her. Don't insult my intelligence," I snapped, sweeping everything off his desk in a flash of fury. "You could have stopped her. Even a fifth grader could see she had no shot without your support. You made a choice, Jason, and it was the wrong one. Now fix it. Resign or watch your world collapse." His face contorted with emotion as he struggled for a response. "I doubt you have enough on me to make any of this stick," he said. I smiled coolly. "Do you think I've been idle? I have files, on your affairs, corporate fraud, embezzlement, and more. You choose, prison or retirement." I saw the color drain from his face. The realization hit him like a freight train. "Kevin Paxton is with your board right now. When I leave here, they'll have everything I've got." That broke him. He pressed the intercom. "Lynn, come in with a pad and pen. I need to dictate a letter." I walked to the wine cabinet and poured a scotch. "No need to rush, Jason. You win. You'll be gone by the end of the day." As I sipped my drink, his secretary entered and sat down to take dictation. "No problem, Jason," I said casually. "I'll make sure your farewell email goes out." Lynette could barely keep a straight face as he dictated, then quickly left the office, stifling laughter. Watching her reaction, I knew Jason wouldn't have time to gather his dignity, let alone his belongings. As he stepped out of the office for the final time, I called after him, "I hear the weather's nice at the South Pole this time of year. Don't worry, I won't come looking for you there. Have a good day, Jason." Lynette returned a few minutes later and hugged me. "Thank you, Mr. Beckman, thank you so much." I pulled back, confused. "Why are you thanking me?" Tears welled up in Lynette's eyes. Jason tried to blackmail me. He's been making advances, just subtle hints so far, but I think he planned to push harder if I didn't comply. I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you've done. I was furious. Jason's behavior had gone far beyond the professional line. Amy had paid her price, and now Jason was targeting Lynette. His fate was sealed, and his marriage was likely over. If all goes well, I said, you'll just be asked to do your job, and do it well. He's a fair and honest man who values loyalty. Lynette kissed my cheek. You're on my Christmas list now. I'll even try to talk my husband into naming our next son after you. She grinned and handed me an envelope. Typing that resignation letter was the most fun I've ever had. 6 months later, I walked into the same office Jason had left behind. Good morning, Lynn. Is the boss in? Good morning, Mr. Beckman. Yes, Mr. Paxton is expecting you. As I reached for the door, she added, you were right, he's everything a secretary could want in a boss. Thanks again. I grinned. My pleasure, Lynn. And call me Sam. Mr. Beckman was my father. Lynette chuckled and waved. As I sank into the chair, I asked, so how does it feel to be CEO of one of the most profitable companies on the market? Sam, you old fool, where have you been? How are you? Kevin laughed. I can't thank you enough for what you did, for everyone, especially Megan and me. She still pinches herself every morning to make sure this isn't a dream. I raised an eyebrow. Oh really? How do you know that? Are you waking up next to her? Is this a mini-merger plan? I joked. Kevin shrugged. We're in the negotiation stage, but yeah, a deal is likely. Megan would love to have you at the signing. And I hear you've got a little filly you're raising, too. I laughed. Exactly. You had a company to save, I had one to build. Vivian is a fine thoroughbred. If I get the chance, I'm hitching my wagon to her for good. As our banter faded, Kevin asked more seriously, have you heard about Amy? My expression sobered. Yes. Megan called when she was taken to the hospital. The stress finally caught up with her. Megan asked if I'd visit, but I thought it would only make things worse until she gets real help. Kevin nodded. Yeah, you're probably right. Megan feels a bit sorry for her. She might offer her an entry-level job at JPL, maybe as a secretary. I hope that's not insulting. I shook my head. No. I don't hate her. I don't even like her anymore. She's just someone I used to know. I hope she recovers and moves on. Kevin leaned back. So, no interest in coming back. I could find you a good role with a great financial package. I grinned. Not a chance. Besides, you don't need me. Word is, you've got God working for you now. Kevin burst into laughter. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about Jack. He got his plaque, and earned everyone's respect. You were right. He's a math genius. For a while, he was the golden boy. I'd walk into board meetings with his reports just before the shareholders arrived. Kevin giggled. What's funny? I asked. I was just thinking about how Jack looked when the office girls snuck up on him. We'll see how socially awkward he really is when he tries to understand women using math formulas. If he pulls that off, I'll believe he really is a god. I laughed. I would have loved to see that. But while you were grooming board members, I was watching Jason sweat from the seat you now occupy. Kevin smiled. Well, if you ever change your mind, let me know. I shook my head. I've already got everything I want. Vivian and I opened our family resort. I'm here to offer you corporate rates for Thanksgiving weekend, host some contests, promote team building. Kevin nodded. Sounds like something we can work out. Maybe a fishing tournament or two to build camaraderie. Vivian and I were invited to Kevin and Megan's wedding. They now have 2 wonderful boys and still make a formidable team in the business world. Every Christmas, we get a card from Lynn and her family. She even convinced her husband to name their next child after me. Her name is Samantha, short for Sam. Jason hasn't been heard from since his wife dumped his clothes on the lawn and turned the sprinklers on. His autographed Elvis guitar ended up as a necklace on her favorite garden gnome after she dropped it on his head. Last I heard, he might be hunting penguins in Antarctica to stay warm, but that's just a rumor. Amy, after receiving the help she needed, accepted Megan's offer for an entry-level job. She sold her mansion and moved into a modest apartment within walking distance of work. She'll never rejoin the elite ranks of the business world, but she has her own place and will work until retirement. I spoke with her at the corporate Thanksgiving party at the lake. She was hesitant to come, but Megan convinced her to unwind. We talked. She apologized for her arrogance, admitted she was out of line. I apologized for putting her safety at risk, but it had been necessary to save everyone else's jobs. After therapy, she finally saw how flawed her thinking had been. She even laughed when I told her about Jason's downfall. She spent the weekend sunbathing and relaxing with coworkers. I don't know much about her social life now, but Megan mentioned she dates occasionally, nothing long-term. Honestly, I don't have time to think about it. It's her life, and she has to live it. 6 months later, Vivian and I got married and moved into my cottage with her and Bessie. I watched as she gently took a photo of her late husband, Greg, from her suitcase, kissed it, and placed it in a drawer. Touched, I pulled out a picture of my late wife, Glory, and set it on Vivian's dressing table. Greg deserves to see his wife happy, well cared for, and loved, don't you think? Vivian smiled tearfully and hugged me. You're a good man, Samuel. I think Greg and you would have been great friends. My guardian angel has looked after me, and now I have 2 soulmates. I felt amazing, better than I had in years. When Bessie's old enough, I told her, you'll have to tell her about her father. She deserves that. Our fishing resort continues to grow. Jillian now has an apartment attached to the store, so we always know where she is. We've added more cabins with docks for weekend anglers. I spend most of my days in the workshop, doing boat repairs and maintenance. Vivian runs the store, and Bessie, now 5, is always underfoot. I've become a father figure to her, the only one she's ever known. Last summer, we surprised her with a baby brother, Brady, who's temporarily stolen some of the attention that I dote on both of them. Even my doctor is impressed. Maybe I should send Amy a thank you card. Just kidding. Story 2. I haven't been very lucky in love, but when I, at 45, married my second wife, who was 40, I thought I had finally found the one. She was a great stepmom to my son from a previous marriage, so it seemed like our relationship would last. We were married for 5 years in total. They weren't perfect years, but I thought things were good. I guess she was just good at fooling me. When I learned she was cheating, it was quite a shock because I never thought it would happen. To make matters worse, D-Day was quite memorable for me. On that day, I was injured on the job. I work in collision repair, and after cutting my leg, I had to go to the ER. In the ER, they gave me quite a few stitches, as well as painkillers for the intense pain I was feeling. I couldn't drive home, so I had to call my wife for a ride. She didn't answer my calls or texts. I tried contacting her for nearly 2 hours. All I could do was get an Uber and head home. When the Uber dropped me off, I hobbled inside and saw that my wife was nowhere to be found. It was strange because she should have been at home. It was about an hour before she came home. I was resting in bed, trying to figure out where she was and why she hadn't answered any of my calls or texts. From the open window, I heard her voice. When I looked out, I saw her in a lip lock with some guy. He drove off, and I heard her come inside. That I was in shock for a full minute. Despite the pain I was in, I had to confront her. She wasn't expecting to see me because this was the usual time I'd be at work. I yelled at her that I was injured on the job and had to go home. When I asked if she got any of my texts, I got some bullcrap response about how she was too swamped at work to answer her phone. When I pointed out that I saw her making out with that guy outside, she froze. At first, she tried to tell me that I hadn't seen what I thought I saw. It was the pain meds the hospital gave me, causing me to imagine things. Her gaslighting me was just the icing on top of everything. I was already heartbroken, so the least she could have done was just admit to it, but even then, she was refusing to own up to it. So, I told her to let me check her phone. If she had nothing to hide, then she wouldn't mind me going through it. My wife refused, telling me that I was being ridiculous and that my wanting to look at her phone was an invasion of her privacy. Normally, I'd agree with her, but she had been the one making out with another guy outside. I shouted at her to let me see it, but she continued to refuse. Instead of worrying about her, I should be worrying about being a better husband. We both said a lot of things that night. When it was over, I told her I was done and that she was free to be with her new boyfriend. My wife didn't even beg for me to change my mind or to stay. She just turned and left the house, slamming the door behind her. I wouldn't have taken her back under any circumstances, but it would have been nice if she showed she cared, even a little bit. Sleepless, I went downstairs and used her laptop. Normally, I wouldn't have done such a thing, but I had to find out more about this guy. I discovered numerous messages between her and the man I saw her kissing. Not only that, I found past messages from 4 other men. In total, she had been fooling around with 5 men throughout our marriage. This new guy was just the latest affair partner. I felt like a damn fool. Over the next few days, I tried to get everything in order. My wife hadn't come home at all. She sent 2 of her family members over to the house to collect some of her things. They looked sympathetic, but I didn't want their sympathy. I wanted the last 5 years of my life back. For a second time, I had wasted my life on someone who wasn't faithful. Unlike the first time, I decided I wasn't going to sit around and play the pick-me game. It was over the second I found her kissing that man outside. If I had found out about her first affair, I would have ended it back then. I don't know what was going through her mind, and I didn't care. My son encouraged me to not waste time. I needed to talk to a lawyer before her, so I did. It was a somber experience, but I had my son by my side. When it was all said and done, I had the papers drafted and prepared to have her served. That I could have had her served at any time, but I chose to do it when I knew she would be at work. This would truly get to her. My wife cares what people think of her at work. She's cultivated a personality where everyone seems to respect her and think she has a perfect life. So, it made sense to have her served at work, with everyone's eyes on her. I knew she had gotten the papers when I received several angry texts and voicemails cursing me out for serving her in such a petty way. My response was to just ignore them. I didn't care if she was embarrassed and hurt by how I informed her I wanted a divorce. Did she think I was just going to wait around for her to come back? If she did, then she truly is more delusional than I ever thought. The divorce was pretty speedy, as divorces go. I just wanted her out of my life. The faster it was over, the faster I could get on with my life. Once the papers were signed, I honestly breathed a sigh of relief. I had brought my son along, and when it was all over, she actually tried to ask him for a hug and if she could still be involved in his life. Maybe she should have brought someone along with her for comfort. This woman was even more delusional than I thought, but I raised my son right. He just stared at her and burst out laughing. Then he looked at me and said we should go out to eat, but it would be his treat. That was the last time I saw my now ex-wife. I can still remember the way she glared at us and how red-faced she was. It still gets a chuckle out of me. For now, I'm just focused on myself and my son. I don't know if he'll ever be ready to date again, but right now, it's just not in the cards for me. Being alone used to scare me, but when I think about it now, it's not so bad. Up.I, thank you so much for sharing this story. It was a brutal read, but I'm glad you were able to persevere through it. The way you found out, though, really brought tears to my eyes. She should have been worrying and taking care of you. Instead, you were worrying about where she was. It was all entirely backward, that I admit. I got a little chuckle when I read that you had her served at work, of all places. Was it a little petty? Perhaps, but after what she put you through, she deserves a little bit of humiliation. Maybe for a second, she thought about what she put you through. Thank God you have your son by your side. He sounds like he has a good head on his shoulders, and it's no surprise you raised him right. Maybe one day you'll find someone else, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. Just surround yourself with your son, friends, family, and hobbies you truly enjoy.